Hello everyone and welcome to Brands Hatch and welcome to qualifying in this Nations Cup race. Now, as you probably just briefly saw behind me there, David Perel is in this race and we are going to have a cracking race with David in this one. But that's a bit later on. Of course, this is qualifying. This is what we're currently looking at and how to do qualifying. Basically, everybody stays behind each other. One person is a sacrifice and the rest of us absolutely nail it. I say nail it, of course I go into these without that much practice, to be honest. I do a bit of time trialing and jump straight in. So I've got to learn on the fly how the car feels with fuel and tyre wear, which can go well and sometimes doesn't go well. But let's find out what happens on this quali lap. It's coming into Paddock Hill here. We get it all wrong, brake well too early there. David catches up an absolute ton and we lose a load of time to Adam up front there. Heading towards Druids now and coming in again. Broke a little bit too early. You can see how close David is on the radar. Very, very close to my bumper. So at the moment, this lap is absolutely atrocious. And you see there, too much oversteer in Graham Hill as well. David right up my trumpet. I'm actually slowing David down here by quite a margin. As we head to the left-hander here to get on the back straight. We did that a little bit better than all the other corners. There's still a lot of time in there. But now we're on the back straight. We can settle down a little bit as we head towards Hawthorns. Now this is a corner I do like, so obviously when you approach this corner, always look on the right side. That changing barrier colour there, perfect brake marker in nearly every single car. Obviously we're in Group Bs, which is a bit unusual anyway. Sport soft tyres, so we've got a bit of grip there as we head to this right-hander here. And we don't even clip the apex there. David loses that a little bit, I think understeers a bit too much. This is where the lap starts to come into its own though for myself, as we cut a lot there at the top of the hill, and then coming into this left-hander. We're going to absolutely nail this now. Look at that lovely apex. You want to hit that curve perfectly like that. And look how much time we have gained on the cars in front there. As we gained a little bit on Adam. Heading towards the last corner now. Chuck it in. Stay in fourth gear. Try and just plant your foot and hope that the car sticks. Round we go and keep it tight near the pit wall there to get the fastest lap done. And what do we get? We get P5, which in the grand scheme of it is not too bad for us. As we dropped P6 there. I'd say no practice, straight in. I'm actually fairly happy with that. To say the start of the lap was absolutely atrocious. Anyway, let's get on with the race now and let's go down the grid, of course. Antonio there in P1, Avi in P2, Colin P3, P4 for FPDS. Some names that you're not familiar with, I imagine. I'm in P6 in the Flawless Machine. Quinton, P7, you know, Quinton. David there in P8. We're going to have a cracking race with David. This is what this video is all about and why I've sort of pushed it up the old video list, because it is a cracker, I've got to say. Aug a bit further down there in the grid than expected, I would say. Same with Dilstow, so Dilstow a bit further up. Potentially everyone doing the same thing, because of course this is the unofficial official season, if that makes sense. It was going to be the official season, had to be cancelled because of coronavirus. Hey, here we go with the standing start. So said it's 50-50, track control 1 I was a bit unsure of. And off we go, and then turn it off straight away and see what kind of traction we get. So a pretty good start, to be fair. We are catching on the cars in front in towards Paddock Hill Bend here, and we're side by side. I was very worried with this, but hey, we survive here as we head up to Druids for the very first time. Look at that top right, that TV camera, it looks very good. Now there's a little bit of knocking there. I think a bit of that was my fault. I'm not sure if I got tagged behind, I can't remember. But even so, nobody really loses out there. Everyone stays side by side. A little bit of contact there between FPDS and Quinton. So Quinton doesn't manage to gain those positions, actually loses out significantly there. David Perel right behind me now as well. And like I did in qualifying, I've got to learn the race pace, you know, how the car handles in the race, and then try and use that to my advantage later on in the race. So I start to change the brake balance. I'm going to change the differential there as well, because obviously we're going to have to look after our front tyres. Lots of understeer in this car. So we have to look after those front tyres, because later on in the race is where it's going to matter a lot and where we potentially lose a lot of time if we don't look after those tyres. We picked up a little bit of pace in this one, so we did drop David a little bit here, and we are all over the back now of FPDS as we head towards Paddock Hill again. Under braking, it just runs a little bit deep there, so I'm thinking excellent, let's go for the standard move at Druids. He doesn't defend it, so we come into the braking zone side by side. Lovely bit of space given there. Thank you very much, I'll take that. I can run out to the curb now because the driver's not there anymore. Up one position, happy days. How about that as we come through Graham Hill and we accelerate towards the 4 cars in front, which is all nice. And I know everyone got sick of me saying happy days in previous videos, but I like saying happy days. It keeps, you know, it's a positive saying. Just keep on it. Do you know what I mean? So we're going to continue on down this straight. See David there, side by side. So I pull over to the left there to give David a bit of slipstream. Obviously, I'm friends with David as well. So, you know, help him out a little bit there, get that position. As we come through the right-hander there. And we catch up to this pack up ahead quite quickly, to be honest with you. Which does give me the good feeling in this race at the time that I could get a good result here, even though I had a bad qualifying. We advance a lap later, and as you can see, David's caught up to me. I'm still behind everybody up front as we come into the right-hander. Colin just runs slightly wide there. I'm not 100% sure whether that's Matthew Colin and a change of name. I'm not 100% sure. As we come into the right-hander now. And again, look at that. It's line astern, as everybody likes to hear me say. You can look at the TV camera as well. Look how close the racing is. It's been clean racing so far. I was very surprised at how clean this race was. Normally, these kind of races, Group B rally cars, gets a bit sketchy. You see AVI goes rally crossing, and Colin gonna try and go around the outside on the last corner here. AVI gonna have dirt on the tyres. I was expecting AVI to actually brake a little bit late and run wide. Didn't, so fair play. And now I've got to try and pick and choose where I want to go. So I jump back in the slipstream just so David doesn't get it briefly. Colin goes to the left, so I go to the left to try and use that to my advantage. Look at that radar now, specifically that radar. David goes for a double move here. Gets it done. My word, what a move that was. Stops on the apex as well. Beautiful move by David. So while we're still side by side with AVI, we've lost a position as we come into the right-hander now, and we've got a big overlap here. So this should be our corner, and we'll be on the inside for Graham Hill. AVI gives that up. So we don't actually gain anything. We just lose out to David and gain from AVI. So it's a net neutral gain, basically. And we've got a lot of work to do now because David's just absolutely bolted there. Runs a little bit wide there in the left-hander. So we come through, and we really need to catch up to David, like David did to us, to really try and make some serious moves further up the grid. So a few laps later, you can see we have caught up, which is nice for us. And David scares Colin a little bit there into a mistake, into that left-hander to get some move done. So I think, oh, happy days, I'll follow. Have to give just enough room on the exit. Look how close that was. And here I'm hoping that David repays the debt owed of slipstream earlier on. It does come to the racing line, and we're going to go side by side in Hawthorns. Is it going to work? Oh, yes, it does. What beautiful, beautiful racing there with Colin. I've got to say, I was expecting to be pushed slightly out wide, not even on purpose, just for the fact that running side by side in that corner is ridiculously risky, and there's more chance of touches happening than not touching. And my word, what superb driving by Colin there. Like, literally, round of applause, you know. Well played. So, into P4 we go, and some awesome moves so far. Let's see what happens later on in the race as we're now up to the top two, and David chasing as well. It's not been a bad race so far for us two. We've made ground in this grid. Further back, Ghost Driver in P7 also made ground, and Aug has made ground as well. He was down in P14 at one point. David looks for the move on Antonio there. Antonio goes a bit sideways. I'm not sure whether that was intentional or not, but obviously loses a lot of speed. So I go down the inside here towards Druids, and I get that move done here on the inside. Now Antonio could have accelerated a bit quicker, doesn't, backs out of it completely. I'm not sure if he was scared I was going to push him out wide. Of course I wouldn't have done that, as we now jump to this TV camera. I do love the TV camera, as we then jump towards the left-hander here. Looks so nice. These cars look really good actually to race. I do like, obviously, Pug Power, Peugeot RCZ and all that. I do like racing Peugeots on this game apparently, but they do look good, don't they? I mean, look at that. Really nice combo this by PD. I was really happy actually with the racing as well, because normally at Brands you don't expect to see a lot of racing. We had some good racing here, and you can see David now putting a lot of pressure on the leader there, Albafor. Into the right-hander we go. Albafor runs a little bit wide, so David goes for the move at Dingle Dell. This is so risky. Potential of carnage again, and look at that. Beautiful move. Absolute stunning moves happening in this race. David with a double move earlier. I went round the outside at Hawthorns, and another move at Dingle Dell by David. Ho! You wanted racing, you've got racing here. So we have to make moves fairly sharpish here to stay with David. We want to race a real racing driver here. So let's come through this right-hander. Let's see what we can do. Can we get a move done on Albafor? So Albafor's got a really good run on David here, actually. So he's probably going to go to the left-hand side. Yes, he does. So we're thinking, okay, let's go for it. Now watch this car under braking. It gets all sorts of sideways. And you're going to see me burst out laughing in a minute because the car got ultra sideways there under braking. I was surprised I didn't wipe out Albafor, to be honest. I didn't. Up into P2. So I'm going to say it like I normally say it. Happy days. We continue on out of that corner. Let's jump to that TV camera now. Let's enjoy some more TV camera action, and you can see the train of cars. So obviously the slipstream is a big amplifier in this game at the moment. It keeps all the cars very close. Recent update, or recent notice by PD, is that slipstream is going to get changed. So get it reduced, hopefully. FF cars are getting reduced as well in terms of tyre wear, which is happy days again. So, yeah, sorry, you're gonna, if it's a drinking game, you're already very drunk. Sorry, not sorry. Anyway, looking at this, now you see David leading the train of cars. We're right behind in the Flawless Pug. Obviously, David's in the Rinaldi Racing livery, because David races for Rinaldi Racing, which I have been to Silverstone thanks to David, and actually been in the garage and actually sat in the Ferrari as well. It was an unbelievable experience. That is on the channel. That will appear at the end of the video, where you can click on the link and actually go watch my Blancpain experience. Thanks to David again for that. It was unbelievable. But we've got a hard race of racing to do with David now, to get that lead and to get that victory in this Nations Cup race. So through the last corner we go. What are we going to do to get past David? Obviously David can defend very well. He does it in real life. He's going to do it well in game, isn't he? So he stays to the right here at paddock. So I'm going to try and go around the outside at paddock. I do try it. It's not going to quite work. So I'm going to go for the cutback. Can I do it? It's going to get tight. It's going to get tight. I've just got the overlap here just as we head towards the braking zone. David brakes really late there to try and keep that overlap, you know, large, so I can't actually get the move done. So David does keep that position for now as we then come into Graham Hill. So David just kept it there, defending really nicely. That's how you defend at Brands Hatch. Keep the inside, or if you are on the outside at Druids, just brake later and try and keep that car overlapped. If you brake too late, of course, you're going to run wide and the guy on the inside is just going to go around on the inside. So David did that perfectly. Approaching Hawthorns now, and I think this is where I am actually going to flash David over, because I don't want to. There you go. I lifted and my lights turned off, which is essentially a flash. I'm a bit wary of the cars behind, so I could fight this as hard as possible at the moment, but it's actually quite a bad move to do that, because I'm potentially then lose positions behind. So I've got to be smart. If I have a chance for a move, like I did earlier in the lap, go for it. If I don't have the chance for the move, and I'm pushing David a little bit in terms of losing more time than necessary, we then fall back into likes of Alba 4. There's a Portuguese driver in there as well. Antonio's in there, I think, and Ghost Driver's at the back of this train as well. So at that point then, I become a target for all those drivers, and I've got to be careful of this. What we're going to do now, we're going to jump to a new camera, one that I've not used before, and we're actually going to look behind David's car and just look at how the cars move, and look at me all over the back of David, wondering what to do. You can see some side-by-side action a bit further back as well as we come through Paddock Hill Bend. Look at the weight shift in the cars, the movement of the cars there. Into Druids we go. You can see some of the exhaust flames there. A little bit of a move going on further back there for P4. And round we go as we head towards Graham Hill now. Look at the movement. Oh, I love the cameras in GT. Just being able to do this is amazing. And you see Alba 4 just gets pushed out wide there by somebody. I'm not sure who it was. I did say how clean it was. I missed that. Here, me and David both run wide. It's one of those follow the leader. One does it, everybody does it. And yeah, I followed suit there. That was a potential move that I could have made if I actually did the corner properly. Unfortunately didn't this time, but I have got a gap now behind me, so I can start to look at attacking David again for now. There is a gap of what, 4 or 5 tenths there as we head towards the back section of Brands Hatch at this moment. Into the right hander we go. Clip it beautifully there. David gets very close to the gravel there as we go down and up Dingle Dell into the right hander. And look how close we get to that grass as well. I love this camera. This camera is featuring in more videos, I promise you that. Into the left we go, and I just missed the curb there. So the whole point of that corner, because it's got camber, you want to get really on the curb, you can really push the car out the corner then. You see how close I get heading towards the last corner. Into the right hander we go. Now we do need to start making moves here. If we are going to get the lead and get the victory here, we have to start looking. So you see I'm pushing with the slipstream. I have the opportunity here as I head towards Paddock Hill Bend. Oh, David just squeezes me quite tight there, keeps the position. I go for the cutback, but unfortunately I can't do it. I don't have enough of momentum to get round there with the weight transition. David then defends the inside, and I've just got to fall in behind at this point. But David runs a little bit deep there. A little bit of a tap there from myself. That was just a slight accident. Accidents are going to happen in this kind of racing as through Graham Hill we go once again. David still keeping that lead, really showing how it's done as we jump on board with myself now. Lap 13 of 15, so we've got 2.5 laps to go. Can I get past David, or is David going to show us an absolute masterclass of defending? So heading towards Hawthorns again, David on the right. So at this moment in time, I am looking to try and get ahead, and David comes back across there, and I don't get it done at this moment in time. So I've got to be careful of the Portuguese driver behind as well, very close to me. Just keeping it nice and tidy through there. Touch the gravel there is quite deadly. Down and up Dingledale. And into the right-hander again. And David just sliding the car a little bit there. Maybe struggling with a little bit of tyre wear, I'm not sure. Obviously, I was getting faster throughout this race as I learnt the car on the track with fuel and weight in. Which is very helpful for me in that when I don't practice, because I should always move forward rather than practice a lot, be at the front and then potentially move backwards. I don't like that feeling. I always like the feeling of moving forward. It's positivity. You know, the happy days thing. Always moving forward. So as we head towards lap 14 and the penultimate lap here at Brands Hatch in these Group B Peugeot RCZ cars, David goes into paddock kill a little bit deep there. So I catch a little bit of time there under braking as we head towards Druids. David doesn't defend this time, but lovely little line there. So you see how David goes, points the car towards the apex and brakes straight. It means I can't go for the dive there because David's already sort of covered it off. It's really good defending because I could have potentially gone for the dive, but at that point I can't because David goes, okay, I'll stick it in the middle sort of thing. So now I've got to really think of where can I attack David. I'm only going to have 1 or 2 shots here now because we are on this penultimate lap. Coming through here though, I am extremely close to David. This is my opportunity to try and get past. David knows this. So David goes straight towards the right and positions it a little bit more in the middle but to the right. So I'm now going to try and go around the outside at Hawthorne's. Got a lot more of an overlap. David brakes really late here. So I can go for the cutback here. Can I do this? You can see I'm just going to have a little bit of an overlap here, but it's not enough of an overlap really to make the move at this corner. So I've got to settle down again. There's a tiny little tap there with the Portuguese driver. That obviously was just him slightly turning into me there. I have to turn into the corner at some point. Unfortunately, I don't get the move done there. So I've lost a little bit of time to David now. Ghost is up into P3. Ghost was down in P11, I think it was, at the start of the race. So Ghost has really moved forward. And in fact, if you did see the leaderboard just before, Aug was actually up there on the leaderboard as well. So moving up from P14. We are about to head on to the last lap. I have to catch this gap and try and attack David with Ghost behind me. My old nemesis Ghost from GT Academy 2013, I think it was, where me and Ghost really pushed hard. But into Paddock Hill we go for the final time. Down the hill and up towards Druids now. We're not close enough to make a move on David just yet. And David does the exact same thing there. Look at the line David took. It's a perfect defensive move there at Druids. Because I don't have enough of an overlap to go for the move. And if I'm going to go for the dive, he's already covered it off. He really already has covered it off. As we come through Graham Hill now. We're going to stay on board until the very end of this race. Can I make the move on David? Or is he going to defend just that too well? I can't. Let's see, just outbrakes himself a little bit there into the left-hander. We're now on the back straight. We should make some time up here. Slipstream, of course, very helpful at the moment. Very strong. And obviously the Peugeot RCZ hits that air. It's like a brick, basically, with that wing on. So into the right-hander we go. We gain a lot of time through there. Oh, look how close we get there. And look how close Ghost is as well on that radar. So I'm having to attack and defend at the same time. Look how close we get here. Oh, 1.5 temps behind David as we head down and up the hill at Dingledale. Can we get the move done? I know, really, I've only got really one opportunity, and it's a little bit of a straight before the last corner. What can I do? Into left-hander we go, and I absolutely nail this beautifully. Here we go. We've got one move to go. So I change my differential here. I wanted to put it to 50-50 here. And the let off there by David, very smart. And I actually went into the wrong gear. I went into 5th rather than 4th. And unfortunately, I think that might have cost me. I purposely went to 50-50 for the acceleration. But I think it just cost me a little bit there, messing about too much on the wheel. And David defended beautifully into that last corner. He just let off a little bit, so I didn't have as much of an overrun, and I couldn't do much. Superb defending, superb racing there, in my opinion. Look, Aug got P4 in the end. Unbelievable moves there by Aug to get up to that position. What an awesome race with David. Absolutely fantastic. Thanks again, David, for that race. Absolutely epic. And thanks again for the Blank Pan experience earlier last year. That's going to be it for me now, guys. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you in another video.